Yo guys, welcome back to a new video on our channel, Fuzzy Garms. Apologies if you've seen that I'm wearing the same clothes I was wearing in a previous video. We are back to recording these videos today because it's going to be absolutely boiling on Friday. It's going to be 36 apparently where we live. And I don't fancy sitting in front of really hot lights in a room with 3 people basically sweating. So we are back to recording some of these videos, but we wanted to get as many out as we could to you guys to continue to grow the channel, but also to help you guys as much as we possibly can. Firstly, over half of you that watch our videos are not subscribed to the channel. Make sure you subscribe down below to join us on this journey. Hopefully, you'll learn some stuff. Hopefully, we'll learn some stuff. Hope you guys make some money in real life. Those of you that know me already know that I make coins on FIFA for a living. I teach people how to trade on FIFA, play that game for a living, and I also do this. So yeah, welcome in if you're new as well. But this video is basically the video where we're going to tell you the do's and don'ts of vintage clothing from what we've done, the experience that I've had over time. To give you an idea of what you should be doing and what you should be avoiding, and how that can help you to make better decisions when it comes to what to buy, what to sell it for, and vice versa, basically. All that good stuff, which will help you in the long run. So we're going to have a few points in this. There'll be some do's, there'll be some don'ts, and then a bit of discussion at the end in terms of the way that you want to, I guess, set your business up. So we'll get into the first point right now, and I will be right back. Alright guys, so the first do is do your research. When you're buying stuff, especially with real money, you don't want to be going in blind. You want to be going in with the knowledge that you know roughly what it is you are looking at. That does not mean that you're always going to find something. Let's say you have a brand in particular you like buying. Let's say, for example, I don't know, Nike. You like buying Nike. It doesn't mean that every single time you come across a Nike piece, you're going to know what it is, what brand it is, what style it is, whatever. You don't need to know that. What you do need to know relatively though is whether or not it's legitimate, which is important. Just literally researching labels is a massively effective thing to do. Maybe taking screenshots of legitimate labels, putting them in a folder on your phone so you can compare them to any labels you come across. And just being aware of the going rate as well for those garments. So those clothes you're buying, you need to know the going rate. So as an example, you guys know that I've been talking for ages now about how well Nike hoodies are doing. Nike hoodies are doing extremely well right now, and we know the going rate is somewhere in between £12 to £16 is what you can sell a generic Nike hoodie for at the moment. That doesn't mean that all Nike hoodies sell for £12 to £16. Some of them will sell for £30, £40, £50. Some of them will sell for a bit less. But the average going rate is £12 to £16. So when we come to buy something like that at a car boot or a vintage place or anywhere like that, we factor that in when we buy it. So if someone turns around to me and says, right, I want £9 for this hoodie, I'm thinking, no, not really, because there's no profit there for me. Unless I think it's something special, I might take a punt on it. But doing your research is vitally important. The other part when it comes down to doing your research as well is not just knowing what to buy and what to sell, it's knowing when to sell. At different times throughout the year, throughout time, brands do better, brands do worse. So this time last year, Adidas was really on the rise. It did incredibly well. It's still doing very well now, but it's not really hitting the heights it used to hit. But it's knowing that there's a few Adidas pieces we've got that are very, I guess they're very one-off pieces, very rare to find. And it's knowing that we're not going to sell them too cheap because they will come round again. And it's knowing basically when that's going to be. For me, I think Adidas probably sees a rise again back in sort of October, November. When the football season starts again, casuals come back again. Adidas is the brand of casuals, so you'll probably see a bit more interest at that point when people are able to go back to games again. So that's the first do, massively important. So the second point we're going to talk about, and it sort of follows on from that one, is your first don't, and it is do not buy or don't buy blind. Do not buy a product you know nothing about. Everything we buy, we have a relative knowledge of. I don't claim to be an expert on clothes or on brands, but I know my stuff relatively well enough to make money out of it. I still have to ask help from people that I know in the business that maybe work specifically with certain brands. I can say to them, is this legitimate or should I be avoiding it? But I don't buy blind. Like we went out the other day and there was a brand and I looked it up and it looks very expensive. And I was like, that's kind of cool. They want the bit for it, and I was like, no, I'm not going to risk buying it, even though there could be good profit in it, because I just don't know enough about this brand. It doesn't mean that I then just go, okay, cool, I'm never going to buy that brand. I'm then going to go home, and I'm going to watch and favourite and like stuff on Depop that are that brand to see if it actually sells for that price. Yes, I'll kick myself if I see that jumper that I let go for, I think it was 10 quid. I'll kick myself if I see one sell for 50 quid, yeah, because I'm like, well, I could have made £40 profit there. But I'll also know for future reference that's what I want to be doing. And it's better to kick myself for missing out on a good deal than it is to buy a bad deal. I don't want to sound like Theresa May here, but just don't buy blind. It's vitally important that you know what you're buying, you're aware of what it's worth, and you're aware of what it should cost to buy. And that's just, yeah, so important. Alright, next thing to talk about is do wash everything you get. Now that's obviously vitally important right now because of the current climate we're in with coronavirus and everything like that. But wash everything you get and iron everything you get when you take pictures of it. Just number one, it makes it look better. It makes it look like more professional for pictures. But it also means you can see if there's any imperfections on the item. It's very easy to pick up a garment and go, okay, cool, I think this is okay. And then you get it home and it's not so much. So we get home, first we do, wash everything, and then we literally lay it out and we check and make sure. Obviously, it's vitally important you try and check it beforehand. We'll talk about that in a minute. Check everything beforehand, but wash everything. It's just nicer as well. When you send everything off to anyone, if it's got that just wash smell, they know you've taken care and appreciation over it. If you've ironed it and the only lines on it are where it's been folded up, people do really appreciate that. So make sure you wash absolutely everything. It really is good at showing you any imperfections on the garment itself. And it just, for me, it's much better in terms of a professional sale and making sure people want to come back and buy from you again. And so the next point leads on from this, and that is do not buy stained clothes. Now, do I rigidly stick to that rule? No, I don't. But I'm quite good at getting stains out. I say I. I'm lying when I say I. Harrison's very good at getting stains out. But do not buy stained clothes. Now, there's a difference between marked and dirty clothes and stained clothes. Now, that is the less glamorous part of this job. Sometimes you will pick something up and think this needs a wash, but it's a very good garment. If you guys saw the video where we made 140 quid in the space of half an hour, some of those clothes were old and dusty and they needed a wash. But once we gave them a wash, they come up beautifully. They are very, very, very nice garments. The guy who bought my fuss loves them, was very thankful for it, gave him a good deal on them. But we don't buy massively soiled or dirty or stained clothes. We will buy stuff that is like needs a wash, no problem, because you do not know what that stain is. Now, if it is mud or something like that, you can usually get that out of a garment relatively easily. There is a video coming out about how to remove stains from garments, just a sort of quick run through of what I use and how we do it. But you don't know if that stain's going to come out. So you may go and buy a t-shirt for £10 because it normally sells for 30, 40 quid on Depop, but with a stain, that garment's worth £10, maybe less. Like, garments still sell when they've got stains on them. If they're minor stains, they're not too noticeable. But you just don't want to be buying stained clothing. It just doesn't do well. It's a long, hard sell. You don't have to spend money on sorting out, I don't know, dry cleaning, stuff like that. So you want to avoid that. The only but to that rule is if the stains on them or marks on them are sort of weather stains. So we bought an aqua scooping jacket. It did have some sort of black marks on it. I think it's where it had been. I don't know what happened to it, but I looked at it and I was like, do you know what? We can dry clean this because we only paid £3 for the jacket. We dry cleaned it. It's now listed for 50 quid. So that's okay. Higher end stuff, perhaps, yet not so bad. But as a general rule, I'd avoid it. And the reason why we avoid it is because I've got the most beautiful Ferrari jacket, and I love this jacket. I'm probably going to keep it if it doesn't sell. But on this jacket, it has a few marks. Now, you can't really see them, but we like to be honest with all of our garments. But just here, there are some marks on it, and they're oil marks. This was probably worn in a garage, possibly by someone at the Ferrari team, I don't know. But it has got oil marks on it. And now, I love that. I think it adds to the character of the jacket. Does it add to the character jacket for your average buyer? No, it doesn't at all. They don't want those stains on that jacket at all. I might keep it in the end, so it doesn't really matter too much. But we've had that sat there for a little bit now because no one's picked it up in the meantime. So be mindful of that. Don't buy stained clothes. Right, the next big do. It's a massively important do. Do not be afraid to haggle. Basically, do haggle. Whatever you do, haggle. Maybe not in charity shops, although I've been tempted at times. But in car boot sales, vintage pickups, vintage places, always haggle. Now, I say that as if I always do haggle. If I see something and I think, right, I know what price I want to pay for that, and they give me that price when around it, 9 times out of 10 I will pay that price. I don't want to scam people out of stuff, but if I think, I need to get it down a little bit, I'm not afraid to say to somebody, will you take this instead? Will you take this amount instead? I have no qualms of doing that because at the end of the day, we're in the business of trying to make money and we want to make money. If someone's overpricing their stuff, then don't be afraid to say to them, this is too expensive for me. Can you go any lower? The worst thing they're going to do to you is say no. That is the worst thing they're going to do to you is say, nope, sorry, I can't do it any cheaper than that. It's not a problem. But a good tip as well, if you're at a car boot sale and you are walking around and you try to haggle with someone, so we went to buy a pair of Nike Air Max a couple of weeks back and they were 15 quid at the car boot sale. And she refused to go lower than 15 quid for the whole time. So we walked down the car boot sale once and twice and just had a little look. It was getting towards the end of the car boot sale, we went past the store and they were still there. And at that point she come down to 10 quid. So I realised that she had like a belief that she could come down on them and she came down to 10 quid. I still haggled. I still said to her, you take 7 and she said 8 and we met at 8 and that was fine. They're now listed on the page. And I always will haggle. If I can get a better deal, the feeder tracksuit, I think he wanted 20 quid for the feeder top. I don't think he's waiting today, but we showed you in the last video or videos a couple of videos ago. Feeder top, he bought it went 20. We got him down to 12 eventually. And it is people expect to be haggled with at these places. They don't expect to have you to take the first price. And again, the worst thing they're ever going to say to you is no. Like, it isn't that deep. So make sure you haggle. Important thing though, if you go to a car boot sale and you are, I don't know, you've been looking around, not found anything you really like, big don't here, and it's a massive, massive don't. Don't buy for the sake of buying. It's a mantra of mine. I would rather come back with nothing than come back with a bad item or an overpriced item. Don't buy for the sake of buying. When we went to the vintage place today, we weren't sure. We managed to find some stuff in the end that actually this is good stuff to buy. We were fully prepared to leave that place with nothing. So it's vitally important. You should only buy stuff you think, yes, there is profit in this, because there's always tomorrow for you to go out and find more stuff. But yeah, don't buy for the sake of buying. It usually ends up sort of worse than you think it's going to. Okay, so this is the final couple of points, and these are all do's. First one I want to say is do enjoy this. Whatever you do, enjoy going out and thrifting and doing thrifting. I love it. I literally love it. When you find an incredible buy, it gets me excited. I'm like, yes, this is brilliant. It was worth it. And so for me, thrifting is absolutely awesome. So just do enjoy it. But once you bought your clothes, these are the important do's. The first one, make sure and do send the item off quickly. Don't hang about and wait 2, 3 days, 4 days. Get it sent to the person as quick as you possibly can. There's numerous reasons for this. The first one, if there's an issue and they get it quicker, you're able to deal with that issue a lot quicker. And that's the most vitally important thing. The second thing about that is it builds a loyalty. People have come back to us because they know if they buy from us, the item will be with them within a couple of days. We will go out every day to send our items off if we have to, because it makes sense to us. Is it the most economically viable thing to do? No. But do we make more sales because people know their items are coming quickly? Yes, we do. Do be flexible. We've got one jumper sat in there. Someone bought it from us. I'm just buying a second one now as well because we were flexible. But she doesn't want it sent until August, in about a week's time, I think. So we're holding it for her. She's paid for it. We're holding it. And literally, we will once she gets back, she'll message us. We'll send it to her. Do be flexible. Like listen to the people that buy your garms. See what you can do to help them out. It does build a really good relationship. And it means people come back to you again and again and again. And this is the most vitally important thing. Do follow up when someone buys one of your garments. So if someone buys an item from us, we message them once it's sent to let them know it's been sent. Once we think they've received it, we then send them a message, if you haven't done it, saying, could you please consider leaving us a review? We massively appreciate it, because reviews are everything. If you can get a decent amount of reviews on your Depop page, people have faith in what they're buying from you, faith that what you're selling is legitimate, the way that you practice and act is legitimate, and it's a really good thing to do. Follow up at all stages. We've even gone and bought some business cards. You've got one spare. There we go. We've even gone and bought business cards now with fuzzy garms on it, and on the back of it, it gives you our socials, and it says, don't forget to leave a review. Just to remind them, when they open that garment up, this falls out, just to go and do that. Didn't cost us much money, or I think it costs a few p per card, and it just means that, again, we're building up a brand, we're building up a loyalty, and we're also getting things like reviews that are massively going to help us in the long term, and we also, if they do it, they get 10% off the next order. When we buy our clothes, we factor that in and make sure that we're not making a loss on the clothes, of course. But yeah, it really is, and I don't want to, I don't want to act as if there's too much of this, because there isn't there. A lot of it is common sense, but this is supposed to be enjoyable. And we're getting to a stage now where we're sort of selling an item, 2 items, 3 items a day, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. It's time I get to spend with my brother and take him out and spend time with him. My other brother comes out with us a lot of time as well, and so that's the best part for me. I get to work, help them earn money, because I don't see a penny of the business. I give it all to them. But it allows me to help them, teach them to make money, teach them how to be self-sufficient while spending time with them. So for me, it's amazing. But thrifting is awesome, because sometimes you find that one piece, you just go, I want that piece. And you'll buy it, and it's cheap because you were there at that moment. So make sure you're enjoying it. Make sure you're working hard, and make sure you follow these steps. These simplistic steps will help you to be even more successful and keep growing, and like we're growing. But that is going to be the end of the video. As I've said before, over half of you, I think it is, that are watching my videos or these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So subscribe down below if you are new around here. Drop a comment and let me know anything you picked up recently. We'd love to hear what you've been picking up. We're going to be starting our TikTok soon, but make sure on the Instagram, send us anything, tag us in anything you've picked up. We love to see that, and we're so excited when you guys say to us, oh my god, I watched the channel and I went out and bought this, and I sold it for this, or I've got it in my wardrobe now and I love it. We do love it. But that's going to be the end of the video, lads. Peace out. I'll speak to you soon.